What is going on, guys? My name is The Rose, and with my co-host Cypher for episode 13, part number 2 of the Game Corner podcast. Today we got some news about the Disgaea HD remake getting a collector's edition and also coming to the West. We have some news about E3, when some of the press conferences are going to be taking place and what time. We also have some news on the next Street Fighter DLC character. And we also have some news about Night Trap coming to the Nintendo Switch. So that's going to be interesting stuff. We also have news here on Nintendo and Game Freak trademarking the name Ultra Shiny. Very interested on what that is. So with that being said, let's get into the podcast. So pretty much before we hit the record button, I already went into with you about my fucking beefs that happened since the last time we recorded. But all I have to say is, dude, I was streaming God of War, and
I just got it today.
The game is pretty good. I think visually it's amazing, but I just really can't get used to the new control scheme all that much.
I've been watching my roommate play because I was busy doing some work, and then right before we were podcasting, I was talking to one of my bosses, and then I was reading a little bit because I got some books today while I was out. But so my roommate was playing, and it looks really fucking good, and I love what they've done with the writing in that game.
I mean, I like it.
We're only like an hour in right now.
Yeah, I streamed a little over 10 hours of it, probably about 10 hours, 20 minutes or so. And this game is fucking huge. There's a lot of side quests in this game. It's nowhere near as linear as the older games were. So far, I can say there is no sex and orgy scenes and shit in this game, from what I've come across.
I read that I can't remember who it was that they interviewed, but they confirmed that basically the sex scenes were only in the previous games to make money from horny teenagers, and that they will not be returning. Good.
I mean, that helps me out, so fuck it. I mean, honestly, to me, it really added nothing to the game. It really didn't.
No, it's just pointless. They're not... Okay, the thing about those is that they're... At least, in terms of... Because I don't really give a shit that they're there or not. I just didn't find them very, very sexy. If you're going to make a sex scene, at least make it attractive.
Especially when it went off screen anyway.
Yeah.
For most of the time.
The only one that's even remotely good is the one in 3. And that one's not even like...
That probably was the best one.
At the very least, the most I can say is that all of those are optional.
Yeah, yep. But, so I just can't get used to the control scheme, and, the new combat system takes, a little while to get used to, because, the older games, he had those fucking, the Blades of Chaos, or whatever they were called. And then he had, other weapons that you can get. And in this game, he just has an axe. And what sucks that I think is at times in the game where you're using the axe, some enemies can't be defeated with the axe.
Yeah, I've noticed.
So you gotta be able to put it away quickly or throw it away so that you can use your hand combat. But then if you put it away, you unequip it or you throw it, so that you don't have it until you're finished with the battle. If at any point you hit the triangle button, it brings the axe back automatically.
Oh, shit.
And, then you gotta unequip it or throw it again. Meanwhile, you're trying to dodge or you're gonna take damage. And the enemies in this game, they're pretty fucking relentless. And, unlike the older games, again, with the Blades of Chaos, how you can hit multiple enemies at a time. In this game, you can only focus on one at a time, which slows down the gameplay and the combat and kind of makes the fighting a little harder.
See, what I would have liked to see is something in the style of, I like the way that it looks because you're really, up close and personal with the combat now. But I would have preferred seeing it kind of more like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry.
Yeah, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I just find that those games are just fan-fucking-tastic.
Absolutely. I feel like the combat and the speed of the older games is much better than this one. But the game is fucking fantastic nonetheless. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous to look at. All of the, the areas. The story's pretty good. I just think Kratos' son, Atreus, he's a little fucking annoying, though.
A little bit, yeah. In fact, I made a joke during the first couple of minutes of the game where the kid's talking about the forest. I misheard it because I was busy doing something. As the force feels different now.
Oh, right.
Then my roommate gets into the combat section and it turns out that you can throw the axe and recall it. So I was like, well, apparently Kratos and his kid are Jedi now.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was mentioning about, like, when you got to get rid of the axe to fight some of the enemies. And then if you hit the triangle button, you just recall it immediately by, unwilling. Like, you can't just put it down or unequip it so that no matter what, you won't get it. You won't get it to come out just by pushing a button. But other than that, I think the game is pretty good still. I have no problems with it. I'm enjoying it. It's a pretty long fucking game, so you're definitely going to get your money's worth out of this game at least. That's a good thing. But I don't know if you have anything else you want to talk about before we actually get into the podcast
not
itself.
Really. I went to the mall today. I bought God of War. I found a guy at the EB Games who doesn't know who I am, which was kind of weird.
Really?
Well, I'm not, like, on a first-name basis with any of the guys there yet, even though I go in there quite frequently. It's more so that, like, he just kind of he vaguely recognized me, but he's not one of the usual 2 or 3 guys that I tend to get when I go in there.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's somebody they hired, new hire, maybe?
Oh, that's possible. But anyway, yeah, so I went to the mall today with my roommates. That was fine. Didn't really do a lot otherwise.
Yeah, same here. I didn't really do anything this weekend other than record the podcast and play God of War. Dude, I streamed that game last night from 11 p.m. until, like, almost 6:15 this morning when I finally went to bed.
Oh, man,
I was on Twitch that whole fucking time.
I know for a fact my roommate and I, after I get off this podcast, we're going to be playing it until one of us passes out.
I was going to say, you just told me you wanted to go to sleep.
I know. I'm probably going to have a cup of coffee after this and play God of War.
But yeah, I won't hold you up too much. So with that being said, let's hit the second intro and let's get into it.
All right.
So you summarized everything. Again,
like
I'll let you take the lead on what we discussed because I don't know what the order you have it all in.
I took it in the same order that you posted it.
Oh, okay.
For the most part. So anyway, the first thing I have here is that Nintendo Game Freak and Creatures Inc. have trademarked the phrase Ultra Shiny. Now, at present, we don't actually know what this could be. Like, it could be for anything that's related to Pokemon. So it could be Pokemon Go, if that's somehow still alive.
I fucking
really
hope not. I mean,
it's really not.
They're doing stuff with Pokemon Go to, like, keep constantly... Basically, they hooked that game up to a fucking oxygen is what they did.
Yeah, it's on life support, but it's like they fuck up so bad every time they try to do something for it that they might as well be putting a knife in it.
I really hope it's not something for Pokemon Go. I really hope it's something that has to do with the Switch titles coming out.
But at the same time, I have my own feelings on it that I'll get into in a second, but I think that it's probably just a rarer palette swap for Pokemon Switch. But the other possibility is that it's for the Pokemon trading card game.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
That could be.
I mean, it could be both. You never know.
No, totally not, because the TCG already has enough fucking rarities enough to make your head spin when it comes to that game.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Personally, I don't care, and the reason I don't care is because I have never gotten a fucking shiny in my life. So making an even rarer shiny is just something else I'm never going to have.
I think out of all the Pokemon games I've played, I encountered maybe 4 or 5 shinies in my life, and that doesn't include the Gyarados that you automatically run into in Gold and Silver.
Yeah, I didn't count that one as one of the shinies I've gotten.
I know one time I ran into a shiny Ledian. Another time was like a shiny Tangela. Another time was Shiny Growlithe, I think it was.
Okay.
It's really nice to run into them, but it really sucks when you don't have Pokeballs to catch them.
No, and the thing about that always kind of bothered me is that, like, most shinies don't even look that good.
No. I mean, it's
like,
cool.
Some of
it's
them
cool
are really
at first.
cool. Like, Rayquaza is, like, black and gold. That's fucking awesome.
Like, some of the Pokemon, their colors go from, like, red to orange.
Yeah. It's, like, such an incremental change. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Although, like, Tangela looks really nice. The green shade it gets. It goes from, like, normal green, kind of like a dark aqua kind of color, to, like, a really bright green. It looks really nice.
Oh, yeah, that looks really nice. Fuck. I actually like that more than its normal design.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, this is at the start of the game. Why? This isn't fair.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully it has something to do with the new games. Hopefully it's not anything to do with Pokemon Go or the card game, because with the card game, I think I could care less really about the card game.
Yeah.
But I just hope it's not anything new for the 3DS, because they just need to end the 3DS. As successful as it's been, you got the Switch now. It's a hybrid console. It's been out for over a year. I think it's time to start laying the 3DS to rest.
Like, I think the only reason why you would even keep the 3DS alive is because it's easier to produce 3DS cartridges than it is Switch cartridges.
Right.
But even then, it's like, you're gonna make so much money off of the Switch and Switch games that, like, why the fuck? Like, that's not even really that cost is not really a big deal.
Right.
Plus, I don't think Nintendo fronts most of those costs. I think, like, you have to make them, or you have to, like, order them from Nintendo.
Yeah, like the developers, right? They have to, like, pay most of those costs.
I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think that's how it goes.
So yeah, Ultra Shiny sounds cool. I don't think it has anything to do with the title of the game, though.
No, certainly not. I'd be curious as to what they would call the next one for Pokemon.
I'm hearing rumors that it's going to be called Past and Future. Like, okay. I could see them doing that for the Switch, like, made two versions of the game. One where you play, like, through the past and you get to explore all the regions for the current gens, right? And then Pokemon Future is, like, the actual 8th gen game, where you'll explore the new region with new Pokemon and everything.
Dude, that would be so cool.
And, like, to get the 100% story out of it, you would have to buy both versions.
But I would happily fucking do that if I get to play through, like, a remake of all the old gens. That sounds really nice.
Absolutely. Dude, I've been crying for a Pokemon game where you can explore every single region, because they easily can make it happen. But they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, they could. Like, those games, even if you put them in, like, the engine that X and Y runs off of, which I don't think they will for Pokemon Switch, like, I think what they're probably going to do is make it similar to, like, Coliseum or XD. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Right, yeah, those were good.
Those games are not big games.
Right.
Like, I think the biggest thing would be, there's, like, 700 plus Pokemon, plus they'd have to introduce new ones for Pokemon Future.
Right, so you're looking at about 900. Or close to it.
It depends. Some generations haven't gotten very many. I think X and Y didn't get a whole lot.
X and Y didn't get a whole lot. Gen 7 didn't get a whole lot, mainly because they made a lot of Alolan forms, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Sun and Moon did either.
Yeah, it went from 649 to 723, so that's only 72 new Pokemon. That's not a lot.
That's crazy.
But, so whatever it is, I'm interested to see it, Hopefully it's going to help with the game. Make it more interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it in action. I just really want them to give us some fucking details on Pokemon Switch.
So right now I'm looking at the next article, and I gotta say the screenshots for Disgaea Refined Edition is what they're calling it.
That's the Japanese title. It's Disgaea 1 Complete.
Right. Yeah, Disgaea 1 Complete. I gotta say, I'm looking at Etna's model in the dialogue screenshot. It looks really good.
Okay, I gotta actually look at the screenshot that we're talking about, because I looked at it very briefly. All those are from yesterday. Well, okay. Yeah, it definitely does. I wonder if I can get like a side by side between that and the old one.
I mean, that'd be. I mean, if you just look up maybe a screen like a dialogue shot with Etna in it, you probably could for the old one. Like I'm really hyped for this, and again, I gotta put this pre-order down at some point.
Yeah, the colors definitely seem sharper than they used to be. And I think as a result of that, she looks more expressive. Like I can't find the exact expression that is in that screen cap, but
right,
because all the other stuff is for the only one that I'm finding is the actual like Disgaea. It's the same Disgaea 1 complete screenshot that we're looking at right now. Is the only
like even the screenshot underneath that one, like a picture of the item world. Again, the colors look sharper and it looks like it stands out more.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks really nice.
Well, I wonder if they're using the same techniques that they used for Disgaea 5.
It's possible. I just hope now that they did this, I hope we're going to get Disgaea 6 at some point.
Me too. So apparently, since we're on to this now, so Disgaea 1 Complete will launch on PS4 and Switch sometime this autumn. It will include Etna mode as well as several extra characters.
Nice.
However, based on the way that this article is worded, other than some graphical updates, it doesn't seem like there's any other refinements, but we'd have to wait and see. Because, personally, I'm hoping that it plays similarly to Disgaea 5.
Yeah,
I used to own Disgaea 1 on both PSP and DS, and I found that game is just, like, it's good, it's well written, but it's really fucking slow.
Yeah,
even with all the animations turned up to max.
The gameplay mechanics certainly did not age well at all.
No, compared to 2, like I find 2 has aged like a fine wine. Like 2 is really good.
I think
and so is 3. 3's aged really well as well.
I think 2 is kind of slow as well because I have the PC version of Disgaea 2, which is the PSP port.
Okay.
And like you can't skip animations like you can in the newer games. You could speed up the characters, but it's like not, too great.
Yeah.
And it's certainly missing features that you grow to get used to in the newer games, too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I need to add the caveat that, like, the last time I played 2 was about 4 years ago.
Yeah, last time I played it was a year ago.
After Disgaea 3 dropped on the Vita.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So how much of Disgaea 5 did you play on the Switch?
Honestly, dude, not a lot.
Really?
I have a bunch of Switch games that I've been playing, like, I need to beat. Like, I haven't... The only Switch game that I own that I have completed is Bayonetta. Right now.
Yeah, I still need to play that at some point, too.
Because I've got such a fucking backlog, it's not even funny. And I'm still buying new games as they come out.
Yeah, right? You getting, not to get off topic, but you getting, Hyrule Warriors 2 at some point? Or...
It's not... I probably will, but it's not a priority. I know Neptunia V2R comes out next month, and I really fucking want that.
Yeah, I would say get that version, since you didn't get the older one.
No. I was gonna buy it, and then I heard that V2R was getting localized, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, you're better off.
But, so there is a collector's edition for this on the Nipponichi store.
So fucking good.
And it looks fucking great.
It's really worth the money, too.
To list off, because this is the stuff that I like to get in collector's editions. So you get... It's called the Rosen Queen's Finest Edition, and it includes the game, the official soundtrack, a hardcover art book, a set of 9 pins, and the 9 pins contain a bunch of characters from the game, including, it looks like we've got Laharl, Curtis, Flan, Jennifer, Captain Gordon, Thursday, Mid-Boss, Prinny, and Etna.
And then you have the Prinny coasters, which look pretty cool.
You've got Prinny coasters, which actually look really well done. You get, this is my favorite item in the goddamn thing. You get an Etna mouse pad, and it's supposed to be one of those boob mouse pads.
Oh,
but like Etna's flat, so it's called a no pie mouse pad. That's fucking hilarious. It's great.
It's great.
This is the shit that I love Nipponichi for. You also get 2 posters that are tear resistant.
Tear resistant's great, although I don't know how much truth there is to that.
I don't know what that would be. Would that be like cloth, kind of, or is that still normal, like a wall scroll, or?
Probably like wall scroll or maybe vinyl fabric, possibly.
Okay, yeah, because I think I own the I own the God Wars Future Past Collector's Edition, and that came with a really nice scroll that I think is like vinyl or something. Or poster, rather.
And you get the square printy plush cube thing.
Which looks adorable. Looks really cute.
And the soundtrack is 2 discs, by the way.
Yeah. You also get a certificate of authenticity, and you get the collector's box looks like a printing pouch, which is super neat.
And it's only $100 for all this, too.
Well, in Canadian, it's going to be a shit ton more, so because I have to pay shipping on mine.
Oh, yeah, true. Well, for you, it'll probably be about $150.
It's only been out for a couple of days, and they're already at 51 to 75% left.
Yeah, so
I'm kind of worried, because I
going.
don't have the money for that right now.
And it says that apparently the game is releasing just in time for the 15-year anniversary of the game. Okay. And I believe it released originally in September. So it's going to come out around that time, and that's a problem for me because I have the Spider-Man Collector's Edition coming out on the 7th of that month, and a week before that I have the Sonic Mania Plus Collector's Edition that I have to finish paying for, and then there's another game, the SNK Tag Heroines. I'm debating on whether or not I want to get the Collector's Edition for that, and that also comes out on September 7th.
You know, I was looking at the SNK Collector's Edition recently, and I don't think I'm going to get it. I love SNK. I want to support their stuff, but most of the stuff in that Collector's Edition is not worth the money to me.
I mean, I think for this price, this is more worth it than that was.
Oh yeah, this one is way more worth it than most of their stuff. Because I'm looking at the SNK Heroines Collector's Edition right now, and the only stuff that I really give a shit about are the OST, the actual collector's box itself.
For me, it would be the OST, the T-shirt, even though I wouldn't be able to wear it. But for me, it would definitely be the hat because I like wearing hats.
Well, it says Fatal Cutie on it.
Really?
It doesn't say Fatal Fury. I thought it did too, and I looked at it and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Fatal Cutie. Oh my god.
That's funny as fuck.
You can just see me fucking wearing that on the podcast one day.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
Oh my god, man! I should totally buy it just for that.
Oh, please, I would fucking clap.
Oh my god! But yeah, if you want to pre-order it now, how This America works, if you pre-order now, you don't get charged. I mean, what it will do is it will charge your card the full amount just to verify that your card is real.
Yeah, and then when it comes out, shortly before it comes out, you get charged for it then.
Yeah, I think they give you 2 weeks notice, so you have enough time to make sure the money's in the bank. And yeah you'll get charged within 10 days of shipping it out. So
okay,
if you want to pre-order it now, you still make sure you have the money in there now, but then you still have plenty of time. Before you actually have to pay for it. I just kind of shat on it, but I might actually buy this SNK Heroines thing just because I really want that art book and that soundtrack. Oh my god, I'd probably buy it now just for memes, and I don't like memes at all.
Don't let your memes be dreams.
So that's interesting.
We'll get into that E3 news.
E3, so you want to talk about Microsoft or Ubisoft first?
Let's talk about Microsoft first, because that's the first one I have in my notes.
All right.
So Microsoft will be having its media briefing for E3 on the 10th of June at 4 p.m. EST.
Wow, they're doing it early this year.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Last year it was at 10 p.m.
Here, that it will be live streamed on multiple platforms, and people who watch it via Mixer, which I've never heard of, will have the option of English closed captions as well as different languages, including French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. And I believe, based on what this article says, the Portuguese and Spanish are only for Latin America.
Yeah, yep.
Because it says LATAM next to it, so I assume that's what that means. Their actual E3 streams will be from the 11th to the 14th, but their only confirmed time right now is 6 p.m. EST on the 11th.
Right, yeah, that's going to be their press conference, I think?
Yeah, I think so. So there is also an ongoing contest, which has started, where you will be one of, I believe it says, okay, let's see here, 400 people will get picked to get an Xbox Fan Fest, an E3 briefing ticket, and 1,000 people will get an Xbox E3 briefing only fan ticket. It says here that People who get the FanFest ticket will also obtain private checkout, admission to the E3 briefing and its fan rally, early access to games, a chance to meet the developers, a custom jersey, and a backpack with secret gear inside of it.
Fuck. That's pretty
Fuck
good.
me, that sounds really good. And it's all random draw. And you can enter that now, and it does not say when that is done and over with.
Well, good luck to whoever wins that one, man. You'll instantly be public enemy number one to a lot of other people for a little while.
Actually, what's going to happen is the bag is probably the backpack with all the stuff in it is probably going to go up on eBay or something for a really exorbitant price.
Oh yeah, especially depending on what's in it.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we continue, for anybody who doesn't know what Mixer is, Mixer is like Microsoft's version of Twitch. I don't know if you remember what Beam used to be.
I honestly don't.
It used to be called Beam. Then they changed it to Mixer. Obviously, it's available on the Xbox and Windows to stream from.
Okay.
Surprisingly, though, Twitch is still an option on the Xbox. I'm somewhat surprised that when you have your own streaming platform you want to push, that you would still keep your competition on your platform to be able to stream
I really
from.
think that it's because Twitch is so popular, they don't really have an option.
So Xbox and Windows has Mixer as well as Twitch. Again, Mixer is just like a version of Twitch, only there are different ways that you can cheer for your streamer. Some of the ways, it's pretty interesting, at first, and some of the ways it's done. You'd have to look into it and see it for yourself. It's kind of interesting in a way.
Okay.
But because of my Twitch status, I really wouldn't push Mixer for myself this year. Although I would definitely see if I didn't have if I didn't have affiliate on Twitch, I would have made that an option for Extra Life this year. But I don't know. Maybe I'll contact Twitch and see if they'll let me do it just for the one weekend. Because the more streaming options I have, the wider my audience can be too. So
hey, so I just found a piece of news that isn't in the docket, but I kind of want to talk about right now.
All right, go ahead.
Because I'm on Sakura, and so apparently, and this is, I'm not going to read a bunch of the shit because I wanted to summarize to keep things quick, but apparently Platinum Games wants Wonderful 101 to come to the Switch.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because it was one of the most popular Wii U games out there.
Yeah, and I mean, more people own the Switch than they own the Wii U, and, Platinum and Ninty are already really close to one another.
Right. So
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it, and I really fucking hope that we do. Because they claim that they basically want to widen their audience, and that they're still trying to negotiate with Nintendo about this release, but they're really hoping that it can happen.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see what kind of new... Oh my god, look at this Pokemon thing.
On Sakura?
Yeah, it's
C1. Give me a second here.
The green and Eevee figure. So nice looking.
Okay, let me take a look at this. Oh, it looks fucking good. Because he's doing the douchebag pose and everything.
Yeah.
Gary fucking Oak.
Oh yeah, here's the... Yeah, see, normally what I would do is before we podcast is I would check to see if there's any news for today.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I didn't get a chance to do that today, so the fact that you found this kind of news is interesting. I also have something here.
I was kind of idly looking at my sidebar while we talked, and I was like, "Well, fuck, man, I need to talk about this because I am hype."
There's also something here. I don't know if you want to cover this later. Square Enix recruiting planners to help Final Fantasy VII Remake surpass the original work.
Well, we already kind of talked about that a few episodes ago, that they were recruiting people, so I'm not really surprised. So I think it's probably just going to be more of the same news. But anyway, back on topic. So Ubisoft's E3 media briefing will be June 11th at 4 p.m. EST. And we don't necessarily know what's on the docket. We don't know what they're going to talk about. But they have stated that there are several titles that they want to make in the future, including The Crew 2, Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, Skull and Bones, and Starlink Battle for Atlas. Now, I gotta be honest, I've never played any of these, and I could not give a fuck. The only one that I'm even remotely interested in is Far Cry, because I know people really like Far Cry 3, and I've never had a chance to play it.
I played the Crew 1, and I'm actually looking forward to the Crew 2. So, okay. The Crew is a racing kind of game, kind of like... They kind of try to do with like what Need for Speed's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of good. I mean, it's not terrible. I think they're adding a lot more to it this year with the Crew 2. It has boat racing, plane racing. Bikes are now going to be a staple, whereas in the first game it was only DLC. So now you have car racing, bike racing, boats, and planes. So it's going to be interesting.
That's awesome.
It's going to be interesting for sure.
I'm looking at the other games on this list. I looked up Starlink, and I gotta be honest, that looks like shit. Now, the reason I say that, it's in development, so we don't really have we don't have a lot of details on it right now, but it says here that it features, quote, while the game can be played digitally, the game features toys-to-life elements where the player can buy things like ship components for the game. They can then place their toys on a custom controller mount, and their digital counterpart will appear on screen. So basically, it's like kind of like Skylanders or Disney Infinity. And like, if you're into that kind of thing, good on you. I think that that's just a glorified microtransaction that is not really micro at all. Like, I think that's borderline exploitative. What was the other one that was here that wasn't Far Cry? I closed the tab by accident. It
was the Crew 2, I think.
Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones, because you discussed the Crew, and that sounds really fucking good now that I think about it.
Yeah.
It's a tactical action game set in an open-world environment played from a third-person perspective. And it looks like kind of like a piracy thing. Oh, that looks fucking cool. I want that. That looks awesome. Yeah, okay, so this looks like what Sea of Thieves was supposed to be. Except in third person rather than first person.
I saw my brother playing a bit of Sea of Thieves yesterday. I just don't know how I feel about a game like that.
I watched Funhouse play through it, if you're familiar with them, and I don't think I'd like it.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I would either. But, So we have Ubisoft. They also, now it says in this picture, it says Ubisoft E3 Conference. So they announced theirs as well.
Yeah.
Ubisoft put out a save-the-date tweet announcing E3 2018 conference. Its media briefing will be held at 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and 4 p.m. Pacific, Central, Eastern Standard Times. On June 11, 2018, it will take place in Orlando, of course, or the Orpheum Theater in L.A. And that's pretty much all it says here. Like, they have... they have the Crew.
Yeah, it just says more information will take place later, and E3 itself will take place between the 12th and the 14th.
Yeah, so pretty much a lot of. So this one doesn't actually have a confirmed thing like Xbox did. Like, they only announced their briefing.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. Also, in last week's news, EA had gone and announced theirs first. Their briefing is going to be on June 9th. I believe around the same times as these ones. So I think that one's also going to be at like 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 Eastern. But
okay.
they're going to have theirs on June 9th. So far you have the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. That's when their briefings are going to be. And then the conferences, I'm sure. The conferences usually start on a Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then E3 goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm kind of interested to see who's going to have what. I didn't look into what EA is, looking to be showing, but typical EA, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of sports games. It's probably going to be something Battlefield related, possibly something Star Wars related. I don't really know.
Yeah, I honestly don't really care about EA anymore after some of the shit they've pulled. Like, I jerked off Battlefield in the first episode. I'm happy that Battlefield 2 is going to be a thing, but after the shit that they pulled with with Star Wars, I honestly hope that Disney decides to pull the license from them.
Oh, I hope so too. That would
Like,
make me laugh.
Man, they fucking deserve it.
So this came as a bit of a surprise because I never thought this would happen. Live 2D's new software development kit supports Nintendo Switch games made on the Unity engine.
Yeah, it says here that it's basically going to allow you to integrate assets through the Switch, like their developer suite, so you can animate characters exactly as they are drawn with no single frames or 3D models. Now, what I found really interesting is that Nintendo themselves used it for Fire Emblem Fates, for like the 3D models. I was unaware of that. That's really neat.
Really? Because I know like Chceck wants to get into doing live 2D for Black Sakura. So it's kind of interesting to see how, Nintendo uses this going forward. Apparently they're using what's called the Live 2D Cubism 3 tech. That's what it's called here. And description of it says Live 2D Cubism SDK for Nintendo Switch is a runtime library for developing Nintendo Switch games on Unity engine. The SDK allows developers to develop games with live 2D assets on Unity while leveraging on the console's strong capability. I think this is pretty interesting, and the fact that Nintendo's already used it in the past, I'm kind of interested to see how people use it going forward.
See, as someone who works in the VN and game industry, I hear about Live 2D a lot, but I never actually bothered looking into it because that's not my job. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I've heard of it too, here and there. I've also heard of the whole face rig thing. I think face rig is ridiculous a little bit.
I'm not familiar with it,
but I think Live 2D is kind of similar, but much better than face rig.
Okay.
So, I think that's pretty neat. I'm interested, to see how they use that going forward. Unity, I know, isn't the greatest game engine, but hey, if you're pretty good with developing games, you can make some pretty good-looking shit.
Yeah, have you, even Superhot, I know it's a lot of white backgrounds with, red character models, but Superhot looks really fucking good.
Did you see, remember the Nintendo 64, Super Mario 64, that one stage remake in Unity?
Was it Bob on Battlefield?
Yeah, that looked really fucking good.
Yeah, it did. Also, apparently, the new No More Heroes is going to be made in Unity, last I checked.
Really?
I think so, yeah. I think, because there's a joke where Travis is wearing a shirt. It's something like Unity equals recycled assets or something like that. Something along those lines. Which I think is fucking hilarious. But I think the thing is that they also made the game in Unity, so that's part of the joke as well.
So, the next thing here, I guess since we're going in order as I gave it to you, is it the Street Fighter thing or is it the Night Trap thing next?
Street Fighter and then Night Trap's going to be the last one because I feel like that's the thing we're going to have the most to talk about.
All right.
So the character that's being released is it pronounced Falke or Falk?
Falk.
Okay, so Falk drops on, she's out in 2 days. So April 24th. She will come with 3 different outfits: a standard one, a battle one, and a story one. Her basic story is that she is one of Bison's modified clones, but she wants to actually escape Shadaloo. She fights primarily with a staff and psycho power, and it seems from what I've read that her move list, and from the screen caps they have in this article, she fights with a lot of projectiles and has really fucking good reach.
Yeah, because the majority of her combos she fights with her staff.
Yeah. One of her V-triggers is her one of her, I think that's what it's called, V-trigger?
Yes.
I'm actually going to have to open up this article. So her V-skill, is the one where she extends the staff in front of her and can be canceled into a variety of normal moves, which, I gotta be honest, when somebody says that generally means into literally all of their normals. And it can also be used to absorb projectiles.
Yeah, it's called Psycho Trombe.
Yeah.
V-Trigger 1 is called Starkin.
And it's a 2-block trigger where she powers... It's basically an install system where she infuses and releases psycho power from her staff to use additional versions of her special moves without having to charge up. It says here, pressing heavy punch and heavy kick again causes Falke to use Psycho Schrott, which is a powered-up version of her Psycho Kugel move that emits 3 bullets and travels further. Pressing down in that combination of buttons will allow her to use Psycho Panzer, which is a powerful version of Psycho Kanonen that deals more damage. Finally, pressing heavy punch, heavy kick in the air will cause her to use Psycho Jaeger, a stronger Psycho fetter that can ricochet off the ground. Psycho Schrott and Kanonen can be cancelled into each other and leave the opponent prone to a critical art.
Shit.
Yeah. So I don't really care about Street Fighter, but her other one is called Psycho Angriff. This is her other V trigger. And it says it's 3 block, which I'm assuming means that it uses like 3 super bars, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Or like V gauge or some shit, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I've never played Street Fighter 5 because I could not care less. But it says here that upon activation, she will immediately twirl around, hitting the opponent in the air. Then she follows up with a surge of psycho power. Pressing heavy punch, heavy kick during this V trigger will result in Falk using Psycho Sturm, a sweeping hit with her staff that can be cancelled into various combos. Doing it while crouching will allow her to use an attack called Psycho Clinge, where she jumps diagonally into the air before slamming her staff down on the opponent. So it's an overhead, and then it can be followed up by normals. Falk's V skill, Psycho Trombit, can also reflect projectiles during Psycho Angriff. Finally, each of the new moves she gains during this can be cancelled into special moves like Psycho Schneid and Catapult, including increasing her combo potential and damage. Finally, her critical art is called Psycho Flugel, which she launches the opponent into the air, then pole vaults up to meet the opponent, whacks them sideways with her staff, and slams them down for a final overhead. You can actually view all of these, and I believe they're in the gameplay trailer, and there's also screen caps in the Siliconera article.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of screen caps here.
Yeah, man, she looks really cool, but I still think that that's some bullshit. She has that good a reach.
Because of her staff, like, I said this in Tekken, and I'm going to say it here, because I didn't really like how Noctis in Tekken 7 got to use his swords, because the majority of the characters in that game do not use weapons. And the same goes for Street Fighter. In Street Fighter, you do not use weapons outside of the character Vega, because he has that 3-bladed claw that he wears.
Yeah, but the thing about Vega is that Vega's posture and Vega's moveset doesn't, actually kind of reduces his reach a little bit from what you think it should be.
Right, and he also, if he gets hit, in a certain way or whatever, he could also drop that claw and he can't use it for the rest of the match unless you're able to pick it up.
Do you suppose that might be the same thing with Falke?
I really hope so, but I think if it's really akin to her moveset, I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. Yeah,
I really don't like characters. I get it. Street Fighter, street fighting. Street fighting pretty much has no rules. Yeah. So, if you're going to use a weapon on somebody, it's perfectly legal in a fucking, a no-rules fight. But I think it's a bit unbalanced when, all the other characters in the game, again, except Vega, have no weapons. And their reach is only about half as big as what hers is going to be.
My main concern with this character is that she has a fuck ton of projectiles, and she can also reflect projectiles. So it's like...
She's going to be a pain in the ass to fight
She's going to be a pain in the ass, yeah. I think she's going to have a really high skill ceiling, but she's also going to have, a really low skill floor, entry barrier, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So, she's going to be really bullshit to pick up and play, but she's also going to be very difficult to master.
The only other character in Street Fighter V that has a lot of reach is Birdie. And that's that really big fat motherfucker with the chains on his wrists.
Yeah.
Now, with Birdie, the only time his reach is really good is when you're using his grabs. Because his grabs use the chains. And he grabs you with the chains and he'll, slam you or some shit.
Okay.
But other than that, his reach is just as normal as every other character. Whereas I don't think it's going to be the case with this girl.
No, I don't think so. I play a lot of, Blaze Blue and stuff. And the way that they balance their characters who have like ridiculous reach is typically by lowering the amount of HP that they have. So what'll happen is, like, for example, some of the more broken characters in the most recent one have the lowest HP pool in the entire series, because then it's like, yeah, you know, you're bullshit and you do a lot of damage, but you also take a lot of damage too when you get hit.
I actually just learned like a few days ago. Chun-Li in Street Fighter V, you know, who is my character. She actually has a lower amount of HP than like most of the characters in the game, solely because she's a female character. And this states all the way back from Street Fighter 2, when her character was being programmed. There was, like, somebody said that she should have less HP, you know, less of a health bar in the game, solely because she's a female, and by being a female, she's already, you know, automatically weaker than the men in the game. And in Street Fighter 2, that ended up not being the case. But apparently in Street Fighter 5, they gave her a lesser health bar, which means her health is going to drop faster.
Yeah.
It looks full, just like everybody else, and it looks just as long, but she's going to take more damage.
Well, the only way that you can really, gauge what, like, a character's HP pool is to go into training and see how much damage they do compared to, or how much damage is dealt to them. Like, how their HP bar is, like, say, if you do 7,500 damage, compared to, like, another character when you do 7,500 damage.
Right. Because, I mean, this was, like, I was reading up on this and watching videos on, like, the evolution of certain characters and, like, guides to certain characters, and Chun-Li happened to be one of them. And I'm like, you know, why was she given less health? Because she's a fucking woman? You know? She's one of the better characters in the game if you know how to use her right. She was the first fighting game female in video game history, and they go and do that to her character because they wanted to do that fucking 25 years ago? That's bullshit.
Yeah, that seems like complete nonsense.
But, I don't know, man. I really don't... I'm not going to care for Falk at all. I mean, because I want to have all the characters unlocked at some point. I will get her eventually. But she's definitely not on my list of things to do right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm never going to get SF5 because I just don't like Street Fighter or Capcom games all that much.
So before we continue, since you brought up BlazBlue Cross Tag,
yeah,
I wanted to ask you, does any of your EB games that you know of in Canada, do they have demo stations for the game or no?
Dude, I gotta be honest with you. One of our local EB games, because we have two, has like a TV that plays previews and stuff. The other one does not because it's in a mall.
Right.
And it's like kind of smaller. I have not seen a demo station since I lived like where I used to in my hometown.
Because I was asking you because starting, I believe on the 17th of this month, which was Tuesday, some GameStops in America, and I'm guessing some EB Games in Canada, we're going to get BlazBlue Cross Tag demo stations where people can go in and try the game at certain locations.
But that seems kind of pointless to me because, like, can't you just get the demo on the PlayStation Store?
I don't know if they put it on there yet. I don't know. Maybe they're not
I'm
going
gonna have to look when I get off because I really want to try it.
Because I was asking you if you knew about that because I was reading that last week, and that's also another article I was planning to go over. So it's one of the reasons I mentioned it to you.
Honestly, man, if there's a demo for it, I'll be very happy because I would like to try it out. Because I've heard that it's way more simplistic, like kind of in the vein of like DB Fighters, but a little easier, which makes me kind of sad and salty. So I'd like to see if there, first of all, is an option to turn it to like normal fighting game controls, and second, I want to see how it actually plays because I really like Ruby and I really like BlazBlue and I really like Persona and I really like Under Night and Birth. So honestly, I feel like this is the thing that's going to make or break Arc System Works. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ made them a lot of money, but like this is like it's not just they're handling 4 different licenses for this. If they fuck it up, they could ruin their relationships with
those other companies,
Arxis and Atlas, or sorry, French Bread. I think it's French Bread that makes Under Night in Birth, and Atlas. But if they do really well, then they'll keep making Under Night in Birth, and they'll keep making Persona, and they'll keep making. Hopefully they'll make a decent like Ruby fighting game. Because man, I'd be down for that.
Right. Because
Ruby's really fucking good.
My brother got the Ruby game. He said it's all right. I watched him play a little bit of it.
Oh, the Grim Eclipse, is that what it's called?
Yes.
It looks okay, but I honestly just don't really care.
So we got Night Trap coming to the Nintendo Switch after Nintendo said it would never come to a Nintendo console 25 years ago.
So the thing is, limited run games they make a lot of limited run games, right? Like they make physical editions of like indie titles and stuff. So this summer they're going to be releasing this. Now, the funny thing is, during the government hearings that basically resulted in the ESRB,
Nintendo shit all over Sega Lincoln for that game.
Shit all over Sega, and he's like, if you watch the gaming historian, you've probably seen the clip where he's like, this would never fly on a Nintendo console.
All right, yeah, gaming historian did cover Night Trap, didn't he? And the ESRB thing, yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's more focused on Mortal Kombat, but yeah. And what's funny is that actually one of the game's designers came out and said that, like, well, the reason Howard Lincoln said that is because it won't run on more technical consoles, because it's difficult to do so. Now, I think that's some fucking PR bullshit on both fronts. Because, like, if it's true, then Howard Lincoln was twisting the truth at the time to make Nintendo look better, which, to be fair, that was his job. But it also rings kind of hollow from the designers, where it's like, Nintendo had certain quality standards back in the day, and they wouldn't have let that happen. Like, they wouldn't have let that game come to their consoles. Because they wouldn't allow, I think it's like religious or sexual imagery.
Right.
And yet somehow Earthbound still has a fetus and some fucking, like a uterus in it, so...
Go figure.
Yeah, well, some stuff just kind of slipped through.
So 25 years ago, Night Trap was one of the 2 games that really made, forced their hands of the government, and that's why we have the ESRB today, and we've discussed the ESRB in length multiple times in this podcast, so I don't think we don't need to do that here.
No.
But, so after Nintendo said 25 years ago it would never come to one of their consoles, and now it is, do you think, obviously back then, what they said was true.
No.
Obviously, they're not holding up that word anymore.
No.
What do you think this HD remake or remaster of this game could, like, how good do you think it could be? Or,
well, first of all, I'm not going to buy it. So I don't even care about Night Trap's content, really. I don't care that it's, controversial in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't interest me in general. But what I was going to say is that with regard to this, I think that this game coming to Nintendo consoles shows that times have changed. Because values were very different 25 years ago. And I do think that some people will be up in arms about this existing.
Right? Like the SJWs, do you think they're going to come out of the fucking woodwork again?
Probably. Oh, it's objectifying women and blah, blah, blah. It's like, they're not even really that wrong.
But, the game's content itself is kind of harmless. In a way.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, like, what do you think of this art that they have in this article? This fucking lady on the left side of this picture here is, like, fucking screaming for her life. When there's literally, like, no murder that ever happens in this game. Then you got this fucking guy, this goofball, dressed in, like, a blue ninja suit.
Yeah,
with some kind of weapon in his hand.
Old, like, NES renders of Ryu Hayabusa, but it looks like he's, like, Ryu mixed with Satan.
And he's got some kind of weapon in his hand. Like, what the fuck is that thing?
Honestly, his color scheme kind of reminds me of Skeletor from He-Man.
Look at the box art itself. It shows, like, 3 women like screaming.
Screaming.
At what?
And like a shadowy figure, and there's like a little sticker on it that says something that I can't see. I'm gonna have to actually zoom in on this. It says here over 1.5 hours of full motion video.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Like, who the fuck cares? Right? Like,
right. It says artwork not final. Subject to license approval. License or approval.
you know what's funny? I think I've seen this woman, like the image of the woman screaming on the left before. I think that's just like standard clip art. I mean, let me just look that up. Night Trap.
It looks really goofy, that's for sure.
Either that or it's the old box art. No, the new box art is the same as the old box art.
Oh, really?
Yeah. However, my God, I swear to God, I've seen that image before. Oh, it's an artist's rendering of, of the game case.
Oh, okay.
Of, like, the old school fucking game case. So what the hell is the new one, then? Because I could have sworn that was also a game case, wasn't it? Let me see here. 25th anniversary edition. Who the fuck cares?
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, because I'm seeing the version that's on the Sega 32X is the same version that, like, like, it's the same box art. But then I'm also seeing on the Wikipedia page a different one for the Sega CD. Were there 2 versions of this game released? One for the 32 and one for just the Sega CD? It's weird. Or maybe one of them is like the European box art and one's the normal? Anyway, yeah, I couldn't care less about this. I think this is like... SJWs are going to be really up in arms about this. Parents are going to be up in arms about this. Nintendo themselves looks kind of like a hypocrite to some people. Personally, I don't care. I think that, you know, if Nintendo wants to publish something on their consoles, you know, times change. People that are the people at the head of these companies change. Nintendo is really not the 100% family-friendly console that they used to be, or family-friendly like entity that they used to be. They still have that reputation, but they aren't necessarily like that anymore. Now that they're publishing more mature games, like Bayonetta, for example.
Right.
What else? Because I know, like, for example, like Twilight Princess was the first Zelda game ever to be rated T for teen. What was the first rated M game? Was it Killer 7? Or was it GoldenEye? Was GoldenEye rated M? Or was that before?
I think that was T as well.
Really? Game rated mature. Let me see here. Has Nintendo ever made an M-rated game?
Yes, they did. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh, that's true. Fuck. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so, like, Nintendo's not really the family-friendly company that used to be. Times changed. Like, people who are up in arms about this need to get their heads out of their asses.
So I got this article here I found on Game Informer, since we're only about an hour into the podcast. Okay. It's May's Xbox Games with Gold lineup, if you want to go over that real quick, because one of the games on here I could easily tell you is very good.
Oh, Vanquish?
Yes, Vanquish is
I've seen
very
Vanquish
good.
in action, and it looks really fucking good.
So good. I'm definitely downloading
was
that. Was
Vanquish made by Platinum?
Yes.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. It's fucking cool. But, you know, so this month's rewards include that, Vanquish, and Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. I've played MGS 5, and I genuinely think that while if you're a fan of Metal Gear, that is not a good Metal Gear game, but the actual gameplay is fucking fantastic.
Now, normally they announce 4 games, but they only announce the Xbox One side of things. I guess it doesn't say what else is coming out. Oh,
no, it does actually. It says Super Baseball 2, which launches on May 1st.
Oh, I gotta download that too.
And the Sega Vintage Collection version of Streets of Rage.
mean, they gotta stop fucking... Jesus Christ.
What?
With the fucking Sega, the old school Sega games. Like, come on now, stop.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking disappointing.
I mean, why are you gonna constantly keep rehashing your old games? And again, I don't want to keep bringing up last week's news that I tried to go over and it never got out. And you were sick, and I fucking got knocked out by meatballs. Last week's news, Sega announced a Sega Ages collection for the Nintendo Switch eShop. And it has, it's just all these old games again. Altered Beast, Golden Axe, the Sonic games, Streets of Rage. And they were adding 2 other games if the Ages collection sells well, and one of them was Alex Kidd.
Yeah.
How many times can they fucking rehash their old games? I'm getting sick and tired of seeing them. They're everywhere.
I genuinely think that they're kind of oversaturating the market on this kind of stuff. Like,
and this
if you're gonna keep remastering your shit, do it at least every 2 console generations instead of literally every console generation.
And this was right after they announced the new Sega Genesis
collection.
The Genesis Mini, or the Mega Drive Mini if you live outside of America, which I already mentioned on the part 1 of this podcast, is using the new AtGames technology, and AtGames is fucking trash. So they're rehashing this twice in the same year. Why?
Yeah, that's kind of a little... To say that that's a little depressing is kind of an understatement, in my opinion.
Now, going back to this article, Super Mega Baseball is pretty fun for what it is for an arcade baseball game. Super Mega Baseball 2, I actually kind of want to play this because, again, I played the first one. Thought it was pretty decent. Vanquish, I highly recommend. It was a great game. I played the PS3 version back when that was free for PlayStation Plus on the PS3 a few years ago. I did not play the PC version, but I definitely recommend Vanquish. I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan, so if Cypher's played that game...
I am. I think that...
Take his word for it.
Honestly, here's how I see that. If you haven't played the other Metal Gear games, at the very least play 3 in Peace Walker before you play 5. If you... I gotta be honest. 5 plays very, very well. It looks very good. It has some of the best gameplay in that series as far as the stealth is concerned, and it's honestly, although it's a very empty and big open world, it's also one of the better open worlds that I've seen in a long time. There's actually, I think, 2 different maps. One for Afghanistan and one for Africa. However, if you're a fan of Metal Gear, my personal take on that is that while it is... Okay. The writing in that game is not terribly good. If only because a lot of the characters in that series... Now, at the beginning, for those of you who don't know this, it's kind of common knowledge that Big Boss is put, the main character of 5, is put into a coma for 7 or 8 years. And obviously the world changes, and so do the people around him. But a lot of those characters that return from the previous games do complete fucking 180s from their characterization. And I genuinely just don't like that. And I feel like that game has... I believe it was confirmed, actually, that game has a lot of missing content, especially story cutscenes and stuff like that, that would have made that game much better. Kojima planned for it to be much larger than it ended up. And Konami fighting him on it was why he left Konami, among other things.
And this is the game that, they started fucking him over. And they started treating him like shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and, I think it's good, get it for free, you'll enjoy it. There's some really funny character moments in it. For example, if you look up the cassette tapes, just Google Pax Hamburgana. It's fucking hilarious. Basically what happens, it's implied that one of that big boss's second in command starts McDonald's.
Ha!
Yeah.
So,
it's fucking hilarious.
So let me ask you here. I got this article here, and because Nintendo Labo came out on Friday, I got this article here about the replacement parts and actually list prices for it. Do you want to go over this real quick too, or?
Gosh, here. Yeah, sure. We might as well.
And then I have this goof article. I don't know if you want to talk about this one just for laughs. It's really short. The whole Dog of War thing. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Oh, I have. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, I'd love to talk about this. Okay, so give me a second here. So the first thing is about Nintendo Labo, whatever. I couldn't give a shit about it, but Nintendo has started selling replacement parts via its online store, ranging from $2 to $14, so $1.99 to $13.99. If you just prefer to save some money and print the pieces yourself, you can download PDFs of the different sets by heading to Nintendo of Japan's website.
I'm surprised they'd even let you do that, because then that could be taking money out of their pockets.
Yeah, honestly, I'm quite shocked myself, but the thing that I found interesting is that they didn't charge you out the fucking ass for it. Because Nintendo has this thing they like to do where they make proprietary hardware, like the Joy-Cons, for example, and they charge you basically a kidney for them.
I mean, I guess they can't do that with this because all it is cardboard, string, and fucking rubber bands.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, you know, if anything, you could actually get the replacement shit anywhere.
Yeah, you could probably just download the PDFs and do it yourself.
Yeah, and save money. Even though, you know, if you don't want to go through the headache of doing all that, you know, you're not really gonna lose that much money if you had to buy replacement stuff. And then if you need replacement string or you need rubber bands, you can just go to the dollar store. You know?
Yeah.
Go to your local dollar store, or I'm sure Walmart sells that shit for $1. So yeah, I do want to talk a tiny bit about the Labo. I did look at some videos. Somebody playing the motorbike Grand Prix game. I will say this: if they released this game, the motorbike Grand Prix game, as a standalone Switch game and made it bigger, I probably would buy it because it looks a bit like Mario Kart. It's got its own track editor in it, and it's a racing game on Nintendo that has Mario Kart elements in it.
Huh.
It's an interesting game, but to have to get this Labo shit, you know, with it, and I don't know, and just because, you know, it's software that you can tinker with, I just don't see myself buying this.
Honestly, I'd like to see, like, because they have, like, the robot kit, right?
Right,
and
yeah.
I'd like to see them make, like, make a licensed Mobile Suit Gundam game using that kit. That'd be really neat.
That, I think if they did that, that would probably push people to start buying it.
That would fucking print money.
But yeah, so I'm not interested in the Labo still, but you know, seeing, you know, a bit of footage from the games that they make with it, if they made them standalone games, I think people would buy them, to be honest.
Yeah, straight up. Depending on, because, like, I think what they could do is they could, like, you have, like, the Labo or whatever, and it comes with the kit and then, like, kind of like demo carts for this stuff, where it's like, hey, you know, congratulations on buying the Labo. You can have these nice little mini games, and we can sell you the full version for, you know, slightly for a bit extra. And, you know, like, maybe you don't need the Labo for the full version, because, like, fuck that.
So we got this spoof article here on God of War.
Oh, fucking God! So here's the thing, right? One thing I miss from, because I don't watch TV anymore. I have ad block enabled, so I don't see commercials. But I genuinely miss the old PlayStation commercials, like the ones with what was the guy's name? Like he was like the VP of like marketing or something.
Oh, what the fuck was his name?
Character.
Oh my God, what the fuck was his name? Yes,
Kevin something, right?
Was it Kevin Butler?
think Kevin. I think it was. Yeah.
That's the only
it was
Kevin
Butler.
As I say, that's the only guy Kevin that comes to mind.
Yeah, he was from. It says here 09 to 2011. I missed that. Those commercials were funny.
Yeah, they were.
I'm glad to see that Sony still has a sense of humor. So basically what they've done is basically they have a conversation about Dog of War, and it's just footage of God of War, but all the characters have dog heads.
You can see a picture of like a mini Kratos' body with dog feet and a dog head,
hilarious.
Holding Kratos' axe, wearing like a spoof of his outfit.
Yeah,
it looks interesting. They even made a trailer commercial for it.
My fuck, I would buy Dog of War DLC where it just makes Kratos and his kid dogs.
Oh my god, that would be fucking hilarious. And then in the game, like, it turns all the enemies into bigger dogs or wolves.
Oh my god, yes.
I mean, there's already wolves in the game as it is, so.
Like the kid becomes like a pug or some shit, like one of those really annoying yappy little dogs, and Kratos is like a fucking bull mastiff.
No, you could be a fucking beagle.
Oh my god, yes.
Just fucking yipping and howling at everything.
Holy crap. That would be fantastic.
Oh my god. I figured we'd end this podcast on a bit of a laugh.
Holy hell.
So, any last words on episode 13 before we call it a night?
Yeah, an open letter from me to Sony. Dear Sony, please make Dog of War. I swear to God, I will drop money on it.
Dear Sega, stop rehashing old games on every fucking platform available. Stop it.
Yeah, honestly, somebody needs to, like, every time a Sega exec is like, oh, we should release more Genesis games, you just need, like, a guy whose entire job is to sit at his desk with, like, a squirt bottle, like he's some sort of fucking cat, and just spray him. Be like, no, bad. That's bad. Wrong.
I was thinking the whole shock collar thing, but...
Oh, that would be good, too. But I think it'd eventually reach a point where it's just, like, would fucking kill him.
I mean, the only good Sega news to come out of the past 2 weeks, at least for me, would be the whole the new Miku update for Project Future Tone is adding new tracks, new extreme tracks to the game.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, like, I skipped over it because I don't play on extreme difficulty because it's fucking hard. It's fucking stupid hard. And, yeah, I just didn't care, you know? I love the game to death. It's a really good rhythm game. But I just can't bring myself to play on extreme difficulty. It's too fucking hard.
That's fair.
So, I think we covered everything that there is to cover this week. So, next week, I think we're on for episode 14, unless anything comes up between now and then. With that being said, follow me on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Follow Black Sakura on Facebook. Follow Erin Fitzgerald on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as well. Check out Jotaku.com, or Jotaku.net, I'm sorry, where we're going to have articles coming out a little more frequently, I think, at some point soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to write one right now on Dragon Ball FighterZ and why I think its roster isn't as good as people think.
So check all that out. Links are in the description box down below, as always. And until next time, for Cypher, my name is The Rose, and we'll catch your ass down the road.